All right. Good Thursday morning, everybody. The All About Nothing podcast, kind of daily show. I'm Barrett Gruber, host of the All About Nothing podcast with Zach King. You can find me on social media at Barrett Gruber. And with me is Bill Kimler, host of Black, White, and Blue in the South with Dr. Jamil Brooks. You can follow him at politicalbillsc. I am about 3/4 of the way through the episode.
Oh, good.
That released yesterday. So very good. I am enjoying. So I've gotten as far as you not knowing who Rittenhouse was, and Dr.
Weisenheimer, I think she called him Weisenhouse. It was Kyle Rittenhouse.
Yeah.
You know, to a black woman, all those white names sound the same. It's tough for her. I get it.
These are historical figures that we need to make sure that we keep in the forefront of our minds, so that when we're at bar trivia and the question comes up, who was the 17-year-old, 19-year-old, whatever, that entered the state of Wisconsin illegally with a firearm across state lines. We
killed 2 people.
Yeah, I thought it was 3 people. It was only 2.
I think it was 2.
Okay, well, and Dr.
But I think the worst part about it, Barrett, just to be serious, is the way he became celebrated.
Oh yeah,
afterwards. He became a speaker. He became endorsed by Republican conservative leaders, and there is nothing redeeming about this gentleman. He killed 2 people unnecessarily, and he is celebrated.
And Dr. Jamil made a point of acknowledging that our now candidate for governor, Alan Wilson, brought him to South Carolina.
For what purpose? I don't remember that.
To celebrate him. There was a luncheon. Rittenhouse was supposed to get up and speak. So it's crazy that someone being celebrated for committing at least 2 crimes, at least 3 crimes, because traveling across state lines as a minor with a firearm, that's not legal. It's a federal crime. And then as well, the fact that he killed a couple people defending a gas station, I think was the scenario. Just odd. But our current candidate for governor, Alan Wilson, who is the current AG as well. So Alan Wilson's going to try and do some heavy lifting by doing 2 jobs at the same time. This is way outside of his ability, I think. So I think
see. Between now and June, we just get to sit back to watch and enjoy him and Nancy Mace and whoever else jumps into that race tear each other to shreds.
Exactly.
That's all we can do is sit and enjoy. And then after June of next year, we have to get serious and get down to business. But until then, we can just watch them tear each other apart.
I suspect that we are probably going to have to we're going to have to ramp it up before June. As far as the opposition party to these Republicans, I think that it's going to be necessary to really show out early and just keep it going constantly, just constant pushing. Voter registration is going to be very important next year.
I disagree. This is again, this is me being in the political world, running for office, running a Democratic Party. Registration will get you 0.1% of the way of where you need to go.
Yeah.
What you need to do is turn out those who are already registered.
Agreed.
That's where you have hundreds of thousands of people that did not vote that could have voted. You're not going to get that through voter registration and bringing in new people. I mean, of course, I think you need to do it, but we always say get out the vote by registering. No, it's getting them out of those who are already registered. So we have an amazingly lazy population.
Yeah, and in respect to that, I think so. One of the things that I have done in the recent past, is I used to drive a van to go and pick up voters,
dogs and little children. And what would you do with this van?
It was a very shaggy van, but we used to pick up voters and bring them usually from the nursing home. But there was transport available. It was almost like a free Uber service before there was Uber, in order to get people to the places that they could vote, where they were registered, or I guess where they authorized to vote based on where they lived. So I did that for several years, just trying to turn people out to vote. not always successful. But there were some times where there was a decent amount of sitting. And then I decided that I thought the best way to try and increase the number of at least available voting was to volunteer as a volunteer. We get paid but to be the clerk for polling location, in order to make sure that every single polling location available was open, so that people weren't having to travel outside of their area in order to go and vote. So that those are some of the ways that I think that really getting people organized to go vote, because you can knock on as many doors as you want and ask people, remind people that the election's coming up and that they need to vote. Or that they tell you that they're going to shake, or they shake your hand and they say, we're definitely planning on voting. I think a lot of it also is voting early, is encouraging people to vote early, so that on election day, those that wait are not inundated with lines that potentially turn them away.
There are two sides to this equation. You need to have the population who understands they have a responsibility to vote and get out and do it. But then you also need to have the candidates who are inspirational, that give them the reason to get out and vote. And we'll take a look at somebody like Representative Dr. Jermaine Jackson.
Yeah.
I said that wrong. Jermaine Johnson.
Yeah, he's Jermaine Johnson. Yeah.
Sorry. Jermaine Jackson would have been an interesting candidate, but Dr. Jermaine Johnson is an inspirational candidate. This is a guy that is intelligent. He is dynamic. He is charismatic. He strings words together like none other in the state house.
Yeah.
And I think he can be a motivating person to get out those who otherwise would not have gotten out to vote.
Yeah.
So I think at the top of the ticket, I have not seen such a strong Democratic candidate for governor in a while. Joe Cunningham, nice guy, not dynamic, not charismatic. Good looking is what my stepdaughter said. That was about all you have. So, but once he opened his mouth, you just didn't feel the inspiration. Prior to him, you had James Smith and Mandy Powers Norrell. Love Mandy, love her. James, good guy, veteran, intelligent, but he wasn't very dynamic. I've seen him speak. He gives a good speech, but you don't walk away with your passions flamed.
Right.
So, going back several cycles, you never had that passionate candidate like we do with Jermaine Johnson, and I'm excited to see what comes of it.
Yeah, Vincent Shaheen was one that also ran for governor several cycles back that just never
twice, right?
Yeah,
didn't go for it twice.
Never really got excited. It wasn't, he was fine, but fine doesn't win elections. You have to really have some.
He didn't get too far though, but that was a different time. I mean, he came close, the closest in many cycles, Vincent Shaheen.
Well, that was pre-Trump.
There's a different time.
Yeah.
People were a little more rational back then.
Real quick, I want to remind everybody today is T-1 for the 2025 Best of Columbia voting. So the voting ends tomorrow, Friday, June 20th at 11:59 p.m. We, of course, are nominated for Best Local Podcast, and you can visit our website. Please vote for us, because it's really going to have an effect on my ego if we don't win. No, I'm just kidding.
Did you see that they've added a new category since yesterday?
No, I missed
Best Conversion Therapist.
Oh, look.
They've had to add it. They were required by the county or city council to now do conversion therapy and include that. So now, it's a real shame.
Now we're calling out the doctors by name, or doctors. Let's be honest. Conversion therapy isn't being done by doctors. So
which doctors?
Right. WITCH is the Columbia, South Carolina voted yesterday to the town count of the city council, almost town council. I almost venture to say that based on a decision like this, that they're almost back to village council. I joke, but the potential of bringing back witch trials is certainly possible at this point. But they voted yesterday to repeal a decision that would allow, or that would repeal a decision that would keep any conversion therapy centers out of Columbia, South Carolina. Now, I don't see anything on the docket where there has been any permits to already give or open spaces for conversion therapy. Let's
set the background for those that may not know. So the city of Columbia outlawed that practice
right within
the city boundaries. 2021.
Yeah.
And it was a great move towards protection of LGBTQ individuals from that barbaric practice, which every medical professional, every medical association, everybody just says is harmful and not based in any science or common practice whatsoever. It's religious torture is what it is. So they ban it, and that was great. And then fast forward 4 years, and now you have a much more extreme state legislature, and you have people running for governor. You actually had 2 people running for governor, Josh Kimbrell, who was a state senator, and then Alan Wilson, both putting pressure on the Columbia City Council to repeal that ban because it's election season.
Right. And
it got so far that they were going to withhold tens of thousands of dollars of state financial grants as part of their budget. They were going to withhold it if they didn't repeal it. So it truly was infringing upon a city's right to self-governance when you were having extremist lawmakers withhold those funds, and they caved pressure. And so they repealed it yesterday after a long effort by those guys.
Yeah. So I don't have any experience, but I have adjacent experience with a couple people that I know that have gone through conversion therapy, and the permanent scars that are left without any results is, you can see obviously what took place. If you were at the grocery store and you saw the burn marks that are permanently on her temples from having electric diodes attached to her head to try and expel the demons, I guess, is really the only thing that I got out of it.
There's physical torture, there's psychological torture.
Yeah.
It's the fact that the parents would send their kids to such a thing, tells them they don't have a safe home. It is absolutely barbaric in this day and age.
Yeah.
And it goes right in line with a Trump executive order where he's about to discontinue suicide hotline, a nationwide suicide hotline for LGBTQ individuals. He's going to discontinue it. There is a concerted effort to exterminate those that don't conform to cisgender norms. It is appalling that in the year 2025, this is where our country is at, and this is where the people who support that are at. And it's an absolute shame on all of them.
I would be curious as to what the number or what the statistic was on the number of lives that have been saved just by the phone calls that were made to the suicide hotline over the last 10 years. Mm-hmm. If you could run a correlation between the number of people that have the people specifically that have called, because for the most part it's anonymous, I think, but between those people that have called and those people that are still alive today. And I have to believe that this was something that was successful. Suicide hotline. I mean, we have phone numbers to call when we want to dig in our yard to provide safety, and how someone could consider Trump, the suicide hotline, to be something that is just wasteful, or it does. So many things about this don't make any sense. Like,
a phone number that we used to have in South Carolina, I wonder if we still have it. This came up in a budget hearing a couple of years back. South Carolina implemented an illegal immigration hotline, a tip line, where you get to report illegal immigrants to the tune of like $17,000-$20,000 a year to maintain this line. And they, one of the legislators did a little research and got some numbers. He says, you know how many calls this line got in 5 years? Big fat zero.
Oh,
zero.
Wow.
No calls. So over $100,000 spent for zero phone calls.
That is just,
and you talk about
promoting.
Promoting. Yeah. So whenever when I ran for office, I had proposed an idea in budgeting that if you're going to give funds, like in business, you have to seek funds. My department, we have to go seek funds. We've got projects we want to do. You have to put together a business plan, which includes an ROI, and it includes measurements. How do you know you're getting what you think you're going to get? Because I understand you can't guarantee everything in the future, and some of it's a gamble. So you want to put together this immigrant hotline. Great. So what you need to do is say, okay, we're going to measure it every year. How many calls do you receive? How many illegal immigrants have we captured? to see if it is worth continuing funding. They don't do that. They just put the funding in there, and then it just rolls year after year after year without any oversight or inspection. And as a former boss of mine said, you have to inspect what you expect. And we lack a lot of inspection when it comes to state and federal government spending.
Yeah.
And that's all we need to do. So some may cry, well, that's what Doge is doing. Doge is a bunch of clowns in a car. They're not doing anything. You got big balls out there looking through code. He's not doing any type of analysis whatsoever. And whatever they find, they're completely misinterpreting because they don't know policy. They don't know the systems. They don't know how to interpret it. So they come up with wrong conclusions, which is all they've ever done. And at the end of the day, Doge cost millions more than they actually ever saved. Yeah. We would have been better off if they had never existed. We'd be in a better financial spot.
Well,
I digress.
And to your point, we wouldn't have organizations here in the United States that are now not receiving any funds because USAID was basically shut down.
Yeah, how is it that you're able to discontinue funds for suicide hotlines, for USAID, for labor boards, for all the other things that work for this country? The NIH defunded, everything defunded, and yet our budget deficit has only grown under Trump. How is it possible? Well, because he is siphoning off that cash. There is money being stolen out from under our noses, and it's being done at the expense of good stuff, not the bad stuff. And you can see it's only getting worse. So he made a ton of promises on day one. Not a single one has he kept. It's ridiculous. And yet the Trump delusion syndrome is alive and well, where they're all going to just claim that, everything's great. He's doing exactly what we want, even though he's done nothing. He's done nothing but make it worse. Barrett, my 401k is still lower today than the day he took office.
Yeah, mine too.
And we're like in 6-7 months into it. How is it lower after all that time and they're not complaining about it?
Yeah. And to your point, okay. So to segue towards one of the campaign promises was that he would be the president that would keep us out of World War III. And every day now since he left the G7, which also, just so people know, G7 used to be G8 because in 2014, when Russia annexed the Crimea Peninsula from Ukraine, Russia was removed from the G8, so they had to drop a number. But every single day is like a will we, won't we? Will he, won't he?
Well, he had to leave early for a very good reason. So you got to give him credit. I mean, it was because there were a couple of flagpoles in the White House that needed to be put in, and he had to personally supervise it. I was just going to say, good reason.
This was his first erection in like probably he's what, 79 now, so probably in the last 20 years, you know. And for the life of me, when he does press conferences, I really think, you know, I feel the same way about Trump's press conferences in front of reporters as I do kind of about Joe Biden's, in that they did much better when there was a teleprompter. Biden did better when there was a teleprompter. Trump reads 2 or 3 words and then gets so distracted because his mind is constantly coming up with what I imagine would be his stand-up routine if he were a stand-up comic, but he gets off topic. And yesterday he wouldn't, when they were showing these 2 flagpoles, which, by the way, the technology of the flagpole is pretty cool because the rope's inside it, but that's as far as it goes for me. There is a flagpole on top of the White House. That flagpole, while it is short from its base, is still taller than both of these flagpoles. I think that may not be correct. I'd have to check that. But just based on the height of the flagpoles from the press conference yesterday, the one on top of the White House will still have a flag on it that is higher.
What it's going to do, and I think we're going to find this real. You know, people love to go down Pennsylvania Ave as tourists and then grab a picture of the White House as they go by, right? Yeah. So now with those huge flagpoles right there blocking the view of the White House, you're just going to get pictures of 2 large flags with a blurry White House in the background. You now have to go around the flagpoles to get the picture that you wanted. It is a gaudy display. So
it is the kind of thing that you would see outside of I don't know, a golf resort in Florida
I'm
where
surprised he showed the restraint of only putting 2. Like, I would have expected him to put an entire row of flags completely blocking the White House.
that honestly, that would not surprise me, because what would happen after this? So you get the first 2 up front, north side, south side. You get the first 2, and then you can't offset that by just adding 2 more to each side, or 1 more to each side. You have to add 3, because it has to be asymmetrical. No, it has to be
And
symmetrical.
quite frankly, I'm surprised he didn't slap a couple of Confederate flags in there. As they're going back and renaming all the bases, I figured they're now adopting the Confederate flag.
Yeah. Well, so the will we won't we with this Israeli Iran, I don't know what to call it, a war, a conflict. I guess
If they're launching missiles at each other, does that not count as a war?
It feels like a war. I called it an intellectual trade of weapons, because they're launching several at a time. But somebody asked me, and they said, well, don't you support Israel? And I said, Israel's a country. I said, well, how don't you support the Jews? And I said, Israel is made up of a very diverse group of religions. Israel is not just Jewish. And I think that it'd be better, this Republican friend, if you probably stopped acknowledging just how many Jews were in Israel, because then you're just going to start to turn more Republicans against them.
I tell you the answer to this, Barrett. Here's the answer to that question. Don't you support Israel? And the answer is yes. I support any country that offers government-paid abortions for all their citizens.
There you go.
And then just watch their mind break down, because that's what Israel is.
Yeah.
Right. So all you got to do is say that, and you'll just completely end the conversation right there.
I am of the belief that most Republicans don't know that there are Jews in Israel, because there is still such a disdain for Jewish people from a number of the people that I know that are Republican. Like, they talk about how Israel is, the chosen land, and things like that by God, and they relate their religious ties to Israel, ignoring, but then they'll say a slur about the Jewish people, and it's like, do you know who occupies a large portion of Israel? Like, it's those Jewish people. Netanyahu is Jewish. Like, I don't understand the cognitive dissonance between the realities in how they relate things, when the obvious is basically punching them in the face, and they still choose to ignore it.
The question I've always asked, I wanted to ask the conservative evangelicals right after that is, when they say we support the Jewish people, we support Israel, then the next question could be, do you believe that a Jewish person is going to heaven, or are they going to hell? Because unless you've accepted Jesus Christ as your Lord and Savior, you're going to hell. So they are in one breath saying we support the Jewish people and we support Israel. At the second breath, it's like, you're all damned.
Yeah.
So which is it? Where's the cognitive link between the two?
I don't know. I don't think that it exists for them. It's
I think it's completely possible to separate out a country, its government, and its politics and its leaders from the people and the religion that is shared across the world. And you have demonstrations in the streets of Israel itself against its government, like many other countries, like our own included, do the same thing. So to sit there and equate a religion with a country is incorrect, which is right in their mindset, because they want to equate the United States with Christianity. They're trying to turn us into a Christian nationalist country.
Yeah,
it makes sense.
Yeah, it's dumbfounding. We don't have any updates on the RJ May situation, except that he is in jail. And
is he still alive?
Well, as far as we know, he is still awaiting trial.
He's still a representative.
Yeah, he is not resigned. I don't know. So maybe what does it take for a state legislator to resign from their post? Do they just have to say it? Do they have to write a formal letter? Maybe he hasn't been given access to pen and paper.
Interesting. I don't know. That's a very good question.
I know that the General Assembly, the Republican-led General Assembly,
they could boot him out.
Well, yeah, but they likely won't do it until there's actually a conviction.
No, well, I mean, they could do it now. I think
Yeah,
the
they
problem
could.
is
Yeah.
that they're in recess and they would all have to come back and vote on it.
I
And I think that if this had happened 3 months ago while they were in the middle of session, I bet you they would have put the vote together and he'd be out.
Yeah.
He'd be
Yeah.
out right now. But because
Well,
it occurred after they ended for the summer and they're not going to be back until January, he could sit in that seat until then.
the optics for them, for it to happen during session, are much better, and publicity, they'd get more out of it because they could then claim that, look, we're getting rid of the cancer that's inside of our own party. They could claim that they're doing what the Democrats have been doing for years, that when there is a bad seed or what is observed as being a bad seed, the Democrats usually, they go after them, they get them out. I mean,
Yeah.
Al Franken, who in my mind was not a bad seed. He was a comedian doing a tour, and in one incident that was evidence available, he made he gestured, and a picture was taken of a sleeping soldier. Was it appropriate? No, it definitely wasn't appropriate. But Al Franken, in my mind, was not the
Well, good
senator
God,
that
considering
should
who
have.
they've
Yeah.
gone and elected as president, I mean, it just seems
Yeah.
so stupid. I had 2 TikTok videos of mine from months ago suddenly go viral this week.
Really?
I mean, to the tune of hundreds of thousands of views, and it came out of nowhere. Oh, it didn't come out of nowhere. I'll tell you what it came out of. The first one you know about, with RJ May,
Yes.
after he had all of his electronics confiscated by the federal government, I caught him in a committee hearing to sitting there playing on his phone.
Right.
Next thing we know, Representative Guffey last week, 2 weeks ago, shares that video, and then it took off. Right. So somehow he saw it from months ago, and it was a pretty funny video. The second one, though, is my #1 video of all time, which I can't believe. It was Senator Tom Fernandez, and he made the news recently.
Oh, yeah.
Because during the No Kings protest, he drives by in his tank of a car, an absolutely gaudy mobile. It looks like he's driving the Batmobile, like he thinks he's Batman. And then he's driving by the protesters, sticking his middle finger out the window. This is a sitting state senator. So anyhow, I had a video of him bragging about his social media following in a Senate hearing. It was the most cringeworthy thing that you could ever see.
Very.
Good video.
Yeah.
And it was popular at the time. But somehow after that middle finger incident, people started Googling Tom Fernandez. And my video kept popping up. I can actually see the analytics as to where people came from.
Yeah.
95% of the viewers in the last 2 weeks came from Google searches.
That's great.
And now it's the #1 video of all time. And people are commenting to this day about what a douche he is.
Remind me again, what does the bumper sticker on his truck say?
Oh, like my other ride has bigger honkers or something like that.
Yeah, I thought it was my other ride has double D's or something.
Something like that. Yeah.
Is Tom Fernandez? I have said that, is he a pastor? Is
a lawyer?
He's a lawyer. That's it.
Yeah.
Okay, so not a pastor. Okay, that would have put the cherry on top. Yeah, Tom Fernandez at the protest this past weekend, he was videoed basically screaming at protesters, putting his fingers out, honking his horn, screaming at protesters, as well as when he drove off, he still had both of his hands outside of the window when he started going forward. So
apparently he circled around a couple of times. Yeah. This wasn't like he was just on his way to the grocery store. He circled around to cause trouble. He was his own Kyle Rittenhouse, trying to get into trouble.
Have you in your life ever seen something going on and felt such a strong urge to present yourself in a very aggressive manner towards a group of people that aren't doing anything to you or
yeah, there was a funeral once that I attended, a person I didn't care for too much, and so I showed up. That's a different day. We're out of time today, so that'll be a different story.
Cancel funerals. That's Bill is on the cancel funeral tour. I'm right there with you. I'll ride shotgun. I'll drive. You can stand in the back of the truck and yeah. Yeah, it's I'm curious as to what this weekend is going to look like. Again, like I said, with this whole back and forth, Trump teasing, which, by the way, we don't need a president to tease us of what he has upcoming. I think that it is I think that it is
it's indicative of
absolutely
a president who's not in the loop. Like
yeah.
he's just making stuff up now to sound like he is involved. You know, I know where Khomeini is. I know where they all are. He doesn't know anything. They're not
No.
telling him anything. Everybody's been withholding evidence from him because they know he has the loosest lips of anybody out there.
And we've already verified, like it's already been verified, even under Fox News, Newsmax, and OAN, that Donald Trump does not sit through his intelligence briefings. Tulsi Gabbard has stated that she was bringing in, that they were going to pay and bring in
finger puppets.
Yeah.
Seriously, that's what they're down to now. Little finger puppets to do a little show to explain what's going on in the world.
They were going to bring in a production unit, the same as Fox News, to be able to give him a 2.5-minute briefing on the intelligence for the day. They were going to set up a studio, record this thing, completely ignoring all of the security issues that come along with that. But this is a president that doesn't attend security briefings. He doesn't read the security briefings. Like, they had to go from being written to then being read to him saying, this is boring. I don't want to do this. And so, and for anyone to deny that those things that are being reported are untrue, or to deny that they're true, is crazy to me, because the news networks that those people are watching are the ones that are reporting it. So even OAN and Newsmax and Fox News and Tucker. Oh, I did. You know what? Before we get out of here, I know we got to wrap this up.
Oh,
do you know what I'm going to bring up?
No.
So this by far is one of the greatest exchanges. I don't know if you've seen this yet, but this is
Tucker Carlson and Ted Cruz.
Yeah, this is absolutely something that I think people should watch on replay.
How many people live in Iran, by the way? I don't know the population at all. No, I don't know the population. You don't know the population of the country you seek to topple? How many people live in Iran? 92 million. Okay. Yeah. How could you not know that? It's not even, you don't know anything about Iran. So
I am not the Tucker Carlson expert on Iran.
You're a senator who's calling for the overthrow of the government.
You're the one who
claims anything about the country.
No, you don't know anything about the country. You're the one who claims they're not trying to murder Donald Trump.
I'm not saying that.
How he turned that into, Tucker Carlson just asking a question. How many people, and you will never, ever see me side with Tucker Carlson, ever. I won't do it. But how Ted Cruz used the talking points that he addresses Democrats and what he considers to be the left-wing media, how he turned that towards Tucker Carlson for just asking a question about how many people live in Iran, and like Ted Cruz becomes unhinged. It's insane to me. Like, he had to know the question was going to come up. Ted Cruz is on a committee that's responsible for...
And do you know what that has done to Ted Cruz's reputation among the voters of Texas? It done nothing. Yeah, if anything, it's increased it. You're right.
Exactly.
It's done nothing. So I give that whole exchange very little heed. We can enjoy it, but I think it has zero impact at the end of the day on anything positive.
Yeah, and ultimately, it was just for it was.
Yeah, Tucker Carlson is not bringing down Ted Cruz.
No, plaque in his arteries is going to bring down Ted Cruz. Fingers crossed. All right, he's
not looking good.
That's going to wrap it up for today. Big thanks for tuning in. Don't forget, you can follow me at Barrett Gruber and Bill at politicalbillsc. You can catch us live every Tuesday and Thursday at 5:30 Eastern, because this is hard work, and we have to get it done for the people, by the people, with the
we want to thank George Soros for funding our show. We appreciate it. This is the only reason why we would get up and do a 5:30 a.m. show twice a week.
The good news is that with his check this week, I will get a new pencil. This pencil is nubbed on the eraser, and I need a new pencil with an eraser. So I am going out this weekend with my George Soros check.
Splurge, maybe even get a mechanical pencil while you're at it.
You know what? I can't bring myself to do it. I'm a traditionalist, and you know, the good old Ticonderoga #2 is that's what I use. So.
Why don't you just get a feather and a quill and an ink blotter and go at it?
I haven't gone that far yet. I like the ability to erase, but I just want to point out, if you are keeping track on your bingo card, Ticonderoga, you can check that one off now. So, all right. Until next time, you all stay safe, be kind, and keep your hands to yourself.